Hey everyone, it's Carissa Wiley at Sprinkled with Glitter. Thanks for joining me today. Today I am sharing 2 cards featuring some brand new hot foil stamps from the Essentials by Ellen line. I was inspired to create this Santa themed Believe watercolor card and combine this foil plate with it. And I love the way it turned out. I'm going to show you how easy it is to do. Don't worry, you do not have to be an artist. And I'm going to be showing you how I used the Essentials by Ellen hot foil stamps to add that foiled greeting onto both of these cards. Now I'm starting out with some watercolor paper and a pencil, and I am starting in the middle of this cardstock, and I'm kind of creating this fluffy cloud design. I'm just drawing kind of like little C shapes to create my Santa beard here. And I am by no means an artist, so I feel like anybody could do this. You could also try to trace like a cloud die, like a symmetrical cloud die, or even print something off, cut it out, and trace that. So if you're not comfortable in this, I have to tell you, I'm not super comfortable in it either, but this was a simple shape, and I did just fine. I taped this down to a hardboard, and I'm going to be using the Altenew watercolors here. Now, they come in this pan here. It's got the nice little mixing areas, palettes, and that sort of thing. They're wrapped in paper, and the colors are on the side and the colors on the paper. You have to remove the paper from every single pan in here. I kind of found that a little bit annoying, and it did leave a little bit of sticky residue on the side. But once I got all of the paper removed, I went ahead and pushed them right back into the pan, pushed those little metal clips up so that they were secure in there. And then I'm going to start mixing my paint. Now I'm just mixing some of these. I'm going to be using both of the reds today. This one I'm mixing here with just a little bit of green in it to kind of tone it back a little bit. And then I do end up using the other red. I didn't think I would use the other red. And I used the black color as well. And I'm going to water that black down quite a bit to create a really light gray for the shading on his beard. Now for my watercolor cardstock, I am using Arches hot press watercolor paper. And I'm not sure that this matters. Other than it was a smooth cardstock or a smooth watercolor paper, and it will hold up to water. I do know that because it's watercolor paper. And so it made it easy to tape down to the hardboard. And I'm starting out with a small round brush to go around the beard first, and then I switched over to a larger round brush. I probably could have used a larger flat brush to fill in the rest of this, but I'm just basically painting everything but that beard area that I created red. Now this watercolor definitely was not super intense in color. And honestly, I think no matter what watercolor I used, I would have to do 2 or 3 layers on this to build up the color intensity that I really wanted. So I'm just adding in these red colors. I kind of added a little black at the bottom to intensify the color, to give it a little bit more deepness at the bottom, and also to make it feel like it's kind of going into his belt. I tipped my watercolor cardstock up and let it kind of bleed down to the bottom. Then I'm going to go in and add another layer of this red. And I really sped this up because there's not a ton of technique to it. Like I said, I really don't consider myself a huge artist, but this was an easy project to create. And I'm just really wanting to build up an intensity at the bottom, a little bit lighter at the top. And so it did take me a few coats to get that right. Just kind of going back and forth and working with the paint. And once I got it right, I would just heat set it. And then I can add my shading in for the beard. And I'm just using that really watered down black paint and my smaller round brush. I believe it's like a size 4. And I didn't even erase the pencil marks on this. I'm going right over the pencil marks. I'm going to add a few little kind of curved shapes within the beard and kind of blend those out with a little bit of water because they were a little too intense for me. And then I'm just going to heat set that. It was super easy to do. I have to tell you, I've been watching a watercolor artist on YouTube, and she's really inspired me to kind of break out of my shell and stop feeling like everything has to be perfect. And I was really pleased with the way this turned out. And I will be sure to link her below. Her name is Emma It starts with an L, and I don't want to butcher her last name. So I'm going to link her in the YouTube description below if you want to check her out. She's pretty great to watch. So once I had that done, I went ahead and dried it. I removed the painter's tape, and now I'm ready to start my foiling process. And I am using the Crafter's Companion FoilPress because that is what goes with my Gemini Junior. But if you have the Spellbinders Glimmer, that will work as well. And that Glimmer machine coordinates or is compatible with, I should say, like a Sizzix or the Spellbinders Platinum 6. So those will work in those types of die cutting machines. So now I have my Believe hot foil plate here, and I am creating a hinge using some painter's tape so I can flip this up. So I placed it where I want it on the card. I cut down a piece of this gold foil, and this is the Crafter's Companion Gemini hot foil foil. And this works with heat and pressure. So this plate is going to give me the pressure and the heat that I need to kind of press this foil into the cardstock. So I'm going to slide that foil right up underneath it. You always want the pretty side to be facing up towards you. And then once my foil press is heated, I am going to lay this face down onto the platform of this foil press. I'm going to cover it with the plate that comes with it. And then I'm going to set my timer for 20 seconds and allow that to count down. Now, once that timer is complete, there will be an audible beep on the foil press. Then I can remove the platform from the base and send that through my Gemini Junior. And that's going to add the pressure in the area where that plate has heated up and transfer the foil onto my project. So you'll see when I remove this here, I'm going to just lift off the foil plate and pull off that painter's tape. And then I have that foil pressed into the cardstock. Now, if you don't have a foil press or a glimmer machine, you can absolutely use these and create your own kind of base to do a faux letterpress look. You won't be able to transfer the foil, but you can press these designs into cardstock. So once I was done with that, I went ahead and trimmed my card front down, and now I'm taking a piece of fun foam and I'm adding some score tape or some Be Creative tape. This is some super wide Be Creative tape. I got this tip from my friend Leah Lawson, and I'm adding these large pieces of Be Creative tape just to save time. It just makes it a lot easier, and it allows me to have that solid area of foam behind my card front. And I'm just going to remove the backer and place this onto the back of my card front, and that's just going to give me a raised foam backer to this card front. Now, you can absolutely use foam tape. I just was feeling like I wanted a solid piece of foam to go behind this watercolored panel. So this is the way I chose to do it today. And you can actually like make a bunch of these fun foam pieces with that Be Creative tape already on the back and have them ready to go in your stash, which makes it super fast to create. So I added that onto my top folding A2 size card base made from some Essentials by Ellen linen cardstock. So it was cut to 4 1/4 by 11 and scored at 5.5 inches. And that completes my first card. Now for my second card, I'm going to show you how to do this foil transfer onto the Essentials by Ellen clear plastic. Now, if you need some acetate in your stash, I absolutely love this. This is a great weight, and I've cut it down to about 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 inches. And I'm going to use this Jingle All the Way design to press this foil onto the acetate. So once again, I've created a little hinge using some painter's tape, and I'm just sliding my foil up underneath, making sure I get it all the way underneath those little loops that are coming off the top of that J or the Jingle or whatever it is. And then I'm going to flip that down. Now you're going to notice that I have a piece of cardstock behind this acetate. I'm going to leave it there when I run it through my Gemini Junior because it's going to add just a little bit of pressure and help that foil to transfer over to the acetate. Now I did use my highest heat setting for this, and this acetate held up just fine to that heat. And I set the timer for 20 seconds, and then when the timer went off, I ran that through my Gemini Junior, and then I can remove my Essentials by Ellen hot foil plate, peel back that foil, and I have a beautifully foiled design on this Essentials by Ellen acetate. It's going to make the most beautiful shaker window. And if this design looks familiar, you're right. I created a very similar design for the Essentials by Ellen blog and YouTube channel. So if you're thinking you've seen it before, you definitely have. So now I'm taking this piece of red cardstock and I'm going to do some ink blending. I'm not going to show you all of the ink blending, but I will have the ink colors that I used linked in the YouTube description and over at my blog. So if you're looking for something in particular, be sure you check there. But I used the Pinkfresh Studio Candy Apple, Pinkfresh Berrylicious, Concord and Ninth Cranberry, Pinkfresh Licorice, and Gina K Obsidian Amalgam ink to create this ombre red effect. And I was trying to kind of create that same effect with my watercolor. I think I definitely did a better job with the ink blending with that ombre effect. But I kind of was trying to tie the two cards together. Now you can see this is the piece of red cardstock on the right-hand side and the ink blended piece on the left-hand side. So you got that intensity building up towards the bottom, and it's absolutely beautiful. Tone-on-tone ink blending might be one of my favorite new techniques. So now I have die cut a frame shape using the Essentials by Ellen essential rectangle dies, and I've die cut it from the same watercolor paper that I used before because I liked the creamy color of it. And I'm adding some Be Creative tape all around the back side of that frame and attaching my acetate piece to that. Then I can take a double layer of foam adhesive that I've just cut down into some thin strips and go all around that frame, making sure I enclose that entire area so that when I add my shaker guts, they won't fall out of the sides. And then I am going to add this card front to an A2 top folding card base, just using some tape runner adhesive. And then I can add my shaker bits onto this card front. So I'm just going to add them right on top of that piece of red piece of cardstock. I've used some old Pinkfresh Studio snowflakes, some High Supply sparkly stars, some Pinkfresh Studio 3mm sparkling clear sequins, and some Essentials by Ellen kind of silvery seed beads to create this really beautiful wintry mix. It's very sparkly. And before I removed the backer from the foam adhesive that is on my frame, I went ahead and treated the sides of that foam adhesive with a little bit of powder tool so that my shaker bits wouldn't stick to the side of my foam adhesive. Then I removed the backer from that foam adhesive and placed this piece right over the top to finish off my shaker card. And that finishes off my second hot foil holiday card for today. I absolutely love to do these foiling techniques. I think it is so much fun. And like I mentioned before, if you don't have a foiling machine, number one, it's a great thing to ask for Christmas. But you can also use these hot foil stamps to letterpress or do a faux letterpress into your cardstock using kind of an altered die cutting sandwich. And I will link to a video that I created where I did that with another brand of hot foil stamp. So there you have it, two very shiny foiled holiday cards. I hope this inspired you to kind of break out of your box, try some new watercolor techniques, and also give this hot foil stamping a try. I absolutely love the effect. There is nothing like foil on a card. I think it just elevates the design so much. And this Believe card, I'm really happy with the way it turned out. As always, I will have links to the featured products used in these projects in the description at YouTube. So if you're looking for something in particular, be sure you check there. Or you can head on over to my blog at sprinkledwithglitter.com. I will have that link below as well. Over there, you'll find more still shots, more information, and a complete list of supplies. As always, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for stopping by today. If you did enjoy this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notifications here on my YouTube channel so that you won't miss any of my paper crafting and card making video tutorials. And I would love it if you would share it with a friend who you think might enjoy it as well. Once again, thanks so much for watching. I'm so glad you're here today. And until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day. Hey, thanks for sticking around to the very end. You know, if you've made it this far, you are one of my favorites. If you want to subscribe to my channel, go ahead and click the button on the left side of the screen. And here's a couple more video tutorials I thought you might enjoy.